Coral reefs are some of the world's most intricate, valuable, and fragile ecosystems. Only covering about 1% of the ocean floor, they support a quarter of all marine life, providing food and habitat for organisms as small as bacteria to apex predators like sharks. Corals share a symbiotic or mutually beneficial relationship with certain types of microscopic algae called zooxanthellae. These algae live inside coral tissues, taking advantage of the coral's stable structure as a source of shelter. Corals absorb the nutrients created by the natural processes of the algae, using them as a primary food source. These algae are actually what give coral reefs their characteristic vibrant colors, lighting up the oceans with rainbows and indicating a healthy, thriving ecosystem. Unfortunately, climate change is causing a major problem in these underwater ecosystems known as coral bleaching. The coral-algae symbiotic relationship hinges on ocean water maintaining a temperature around 25 degrees Celsius, that's 77 degrees Fahrenheit. When the water gets too warm for too long, the algae is expelled from the corals because of the stress the heat causes. The corals lose their color and turn completely white as if they were bleached. But this loss of color is the least of the problems corals face when they lose this symbiotic relationship. Without algae, corals no longer have immediate access to all of the nutrients they need to survive, and are threatened with starvation. Because they're stationary, corals can't just swim to the next best source of food and eat. They have to wait for food to come to them. A type of microscopic plankton called zooplankton fill this role of the next best food source when they happen to drift through reef ecosystems. While the movement of zooplankton through the oceans is largely guided by the direction of the currents, they're also drawn to light sources at nighttime, which happens to be the preferred time for corals to feed. Researchers at The Ohio State University put these pieces together and designed a device to increase zooplankton concentrations around starving reefs called Uzella, which stands for Underwater Zooplankton Enhancement Light Array. Uzella is a submersible device that's designed to be anchored next to corals and emit light to attract zooplankton. It's made by enclosing a light bulb, a programming chip, and a battery in a PVC pipe. The chip is programmed to turn the light bulb on for 1 hour every night, during which zooplankton flock to the light and are readily available to be consumed by the nearby coral. Uzella was tested by placing 2 small groups of corals in water tanks heated up to mimic ocean warming caused by climate change. The groups were then transferred into a live coral nursery in the Pacific Ocean, deploying Uzella alongside just one of the 2 groups. The researchers compared the amounts of zooplankton consumed between the groups, and Uzella proved to be a smashing success. The feeding rates of heat-stressed corals that were in the presence of the device were up to 50 times higher than those that were not. Having this mechanism to funnel food directly to bleached coral reefs is extremely helpful. Corals that feed on zooplankton are much more resilient when faced with bleaching or disease, but ultimately they can only get around 40% of their necessary nutrition through zooplankton alone. Helping coral reefs long-term will require addressing climate change in order to lower ocean temperatures and restore their relationship with algae. Healthy reefs are hubs for all kinds of marine life, providing them with protection, food, and a place to call home, but they're just as important to humans. They're a natural barrier for harsh waves, protecting beaches and coastal communities from stormy weather and devastating erosion. They boost local economies as hotspots for tourism, drawing divers and snorkelers from around the world to see their beautiful structures. Many recent treatments for medical issues, from heart disease to skin cancer, have come from chemical compounds discovered in reefs, and scientists are continuing to look to these ecosystems in their research for cancer drugs. Losing coral reefs would take all of this protection and hope away. Using Uzella, we can help corals build up their resilience to the stress caused by warming ocean temperatures. In the meantime, we must continue seeking solutions to climate change so we can ensure these wondrous ecosystems can thrive for generations to come.